Okay, it's time for episode number 3 of your Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship preview here with Racer X, Jason Weigandt, Steve Matthes, Jason Thomas, and we will have David Pingree breaking things down with the board a little bit later in the show. Nothing boring about this group of riders. Today we're talking about Trey Canard, Davie Milsaps, and Justin Barcia. These guys have had ups, they've had downs. They've won races before, they've been considered title contenders before, some of them have led the point standings, but there are also some question marks there too. So this is a really dynamic group, and Steve will start with Trey Canard, who last year was as fast as anybody, won 2 out of 3 races at one point, and the weirdo dark cloud that follows Trey Canard around, it followed him into a domed stadium in Detroit. He broke his arm in a crash with Jake Weimer, and that was it. So do we just assume every time that Trey comes back from these injuries where he was like he usually does?
Well, I think we can, but I also think we have to acknowledge the fact that he misses races. This is what he does. Unfortunately, it's not brings us joy to talk about, but mistakes happen. And you want to talk about that black flag gate with Chad Reed last year. That was a mistake that Trey probably shouldn't have done. He pushed it a little hard. Then you want to talk about the injury, which wasn't his fault. But again, he gets collected up in these things. It's a big year for Trey. His contract is up at the end of the year. We're going to see whether he stays on Honda, goes somewhere else. I think he'll be a guy that can win races, but I don't think at this point we can just say, hey, he's going to be a title contender, because he hasn't really shown it outside of 1 year.
Yeah, going to the distance, and even that was 2011, and he didn't quite make it all the way to the end. So we're going to just say, prove us wrong. We would love for him to prove us wrong and get to the end and score points in every round. And another problem he had last year, JT, he's normally a good starter. But what happened last year? The starts were not good.
Yeah, I think no one knows that better than Honda and Trey Canard, and it'll be interesting to see if they can fix the problem. I think that the ECU and launch control and all these things that these manufacturers are incorporating into their bikes now keep improving and keep evolving. And I think Honda did a great job of being ahead of the curve in 2014, but maybe not so much in 2015. So I'm sure the engineers and all the testing that's going on is trying to address that problem, because no one knows better than the rider that, hey, I've got to be at the front to have a chance, because everyone's too good. You can't pass up through multi-time past champions and get to the front when a guy like Ryan Dungey's out front. So that's going to be an interesting scenario to see if they can fix that problem, or is it more of the same, because I think a championship hinges on it.
Yeah, and don't forget the risk that you have when you keep starting back there. In Detroit, he had a problem with a bad start and a crash and a heat, then he had to go to the semi, then he was in the middle of the pack there, and he got collected with Weimer. This is what happens when you keep starting 8th and 9th. Carnage is around. So if we want to see Trey stay safe, we need to see him get his starts back. Let's analyze this a little more. I like where you're going. The technology is really impacting how starts work, so let's get analytical with this with David Pingree on the big board. What do you got, Ping?
All right, thanks, Weege. We'll talk about starts in a second, but as far as Trey Canard goes, I want to point something out. He's got the history of crashing and getting hurt. You can't deny that. It's in the books. But last year, his crash at Detroit was not his fault. He had Jake Weimer come up short on a jump and wobble underneath him. You're in the air. There's absolutely nothing you can do. So I almost want to take that one away from him and give him the benefit of the doubt that he's been healthy for a while now. He's been making good decisions on the track. He's really happy with the way his bike's working. I think he's got a lot of momentum coming into 2016. You'll hear guys talk a lot about putting themselves in a good position or, staying out of trouble. Basically, all that means is getting a good start. When you get mired in the pack, middle of the pack, there's so much stuff going on, you're just asking for something to go sideways. So, as these guys mentioned, starts are going to be huge when it comes down to the 2016 Supercross season for Trey. And here's the way I see it going down. If he can get himself a good start, it's nowhere but up for him. He gets bad starts, it's down. But it's really the same with anybody. Up or down, good starts, bad starts. It's kind of looking like that, all right? That's pretty much just the way it goes. I think Trey's going to have a fantastic year. I think it's going to be very perky for him, and I'm looking forward to it. Good luck, Trey. Back to you guys.
Okay, that's right. We talk about starts, and it's like, yeah, wow, tell us something we don't know. Starts are important. But I do feel there are certain riders where it matters more than others, and that's the transition into Justin Barcia, who I think is the overall best starter of this generation. Maybe not the best starter ever, maybe not Mike Alessi, Jeff Emig off the gate, but when Barcia has struggled, the starts haven't been there. And then what happened magically halfway through Lucas Oil Pro Motocross? Starts came, results came, and he got 11 hole shots in 24 motos. So Barcia this year coming in hot. Last year we didn't know, he's transitioning a new team. Things seem to be rolling his direction, especially with a great ride at Motocross of Nations, and he looked much better at Monster Cup this year than the previous.
Well, I don't know what my buddy JT here is going to say about Justin Barcia. I don't know. I have no clue. Look, 2 years ago, I picked him to challenge RV. I said RV is going to have his hands full with Justin Barcia.
Yeah.
Last year, before he got hurt on the JGR bike, it wasn't going very well. It was actually going pretty terrible. And, you know, so then he gets hurt. He comes back at the Nationals. It wasn't going so well. Then he caught fire. Now, we know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to say I'm an expert here in the sport of Supercross. I could see Justin Barcia top 3 in the points, or maybe he has another poor year on the Yamaha indoors. You know, I really don't know. I'm sorry.
What do you got?
I'm going to say Justin Barcia goes as his starts go. I think, as just the point you made, I think if he struggles with the starts again, as he did in Supercross last year, he will struggle. I don't think he has the blistering pace or the ability to just cut through guys that are, let's say, on the same level as him. But if he can start up front, he has the confidence and he has the mental capacity to believe in himself that if he gets up there, he won motos last year. He knows that he's capable of it. So it's all going to hinge on that. It's basically the same thing as Trey Canard. These guys are so close in ability and so close in speed that that's the X factor, is where you start. You know, and I even did columns on this last year. If you look at their position on the end of the first lap, you could almost draw a direct correlation to where they were going to finish. So it's just so important.
Yeah, and Barcia's just so darn aggressive. I've got to figure when he was nailing all those starts outdoors and Dungey kept starting behind him, you know Dungey's like, this is a guy I do not want to have to pass, because he is tenacious and he will fight you and he'll ride over his head even if that's what it takes to keep you behind him. It's a little scary, we've seen before.
Look, there was no changes in Justin Barcia's program last year outdoors, other than he won in the mud and had fun, and something clicked in the head. So does something click in the head at A1? That's what I wonder. If he has a bad A1, he has a bad Phoenix, are we just going to see a nosedive? Or flip it around, if he has some good results, and we saw how much important it is to have Justin in the right frame of mind, does he just take off and surprise everyone? I don't know.
That's what you said. Forget all the testing and bike development. It's all up here.
It is.
But can any of the good things that happened in 2015 toward the end of the year, does it matter, or is it a clean slate by the time he gets Anaheim?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know if you're asking me, but
well,
it doesn't.
I think
you like to make your opinion known.
I think it does, in the fact that he now believes that if he does grab the start, I'm staying there. Which I don't know that he necessarily thought that after such a rough previous season and the way all those races went. I don't know that he thought that, and I think he does right now.
Yeah, he's definitely rolling in a much better direction than he was at the beginning of last year. Now, this is the part of the show that I've been looking forward to the most. We have the guys who are the hardest to predict. We don't know what to expect from Barcia and Canard and Davie Milsaps, who we'll also talk about here. So let's break out Steve's goggles of the future, and if you don't know how these work, we're going to show you some clips from last year where they predicted doom and gloom for some riders, but they were actually accurate.
I can't help what the goggles see.
It's not even you.
No.
You're merely a vessel.
No, I am, yeah. I'm regular like Whoopi Goldberg. And
Las Vegas medium.
I'm
just a messenger. So first, here's Steve talking about prediction for Trey Canard's season from 2015.
2 race wins,
All right.
5th in the points. He
Okay.
will miss a couple rounds.
Well, I got to say, you practically nailed that one. You said 2 race wins and some missed rounds.
I can't. The goggles do it, man. Yeah. What can I say?
Let's do some predictions here for Trey Canard in 2016. I'm going to predict. I'm going to say he makes all the races this year. I don't think he's going to be champ. I think he's going to be right in there, the top 3 or 4 guys all the way through. I still believe in Dungey's overall consistency a little more, because I think he can match Canard's speed and exceed him in the consistency game. But I think it's going to be a safe season for Trey. What say you? Goggles of the future.
The clear vision of X tells me another 2 race wins, but unfortunately some more missed races. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
Anything positive, JT?
I think that
2 race wins was positive.
That is positive. That's a good point. The goggles, they're rose-colored lenses still. Yeah.
I'm going to say a full season and in the mix. I think Dungey wins the title. But I think Canard, he was 2nd place in points when he went down last year. I think he's a contender. He takes out a couple of the mistakes out, the mishap with Reed. That would have, gained him another 10, 15 points there. I think he's in the mix.
Okay, so we figure Canard's in the mix. We're not exactly sure what to expect from Barcia, but if he's in the mix, it wouldn't surprise us. The next rider, we have literally no idea what's going to happen. Let's tell the Davie Milsaps story first, with your predictions with the goggles of the future of Milsaps last year.
Millsaps, no race wins and an injury. I'm really sorry. I can't.
You are going to hear about this one. Well, you nailed that one. You said it would be a bad season for Millsaps. People were not happy with that prediction.
People were not happy.
No, you were enemy
Davie
of the
Milsaps.
people. Yes, at Anaheim 1, people wanted to fight you.
But I did not predict Davie would get fired
No,
from Kawasaki. Let's put it
one-
that way.
no one predicted that.
It was a disaster season for Davie Milsaps.
Yes.
There's no doubt. But he has found a home with the BTO Sports KTM team. He's got a great bike. We know that. We also know that Davie's riding for basically nothing. He's trying to get motivated to get back on the factory gravy train. The bike is good, we know. Does he have talent? Yeah, it's Davie Milsaps, bro. So, all that kind of leans towards maybe having a good year.
Can you give us a little vision here? Ooh, Davey's probably watching this right now.
Stays healthy,
Okay.
makes the races, 2 podiums.
No race wins.
No race wins.
All right, as we say, prove us wrong.
I can't. It's
I know.
not me.
Can you change lenses? Is
It's
that
the
do anything?
goggles.
Or
No,
tear-offs,
no, then
or-
you can see my eyes.
Oh, well, we don't want that. Here's a little graphic, by the way, to show you Millsaps and Canard and the amount of races they've made. For a while, Millsaps was a stalwart. He made almost all the races the first couple of years of his 450 career, and then he's missed a lot in the last few years. Okay, so the real question for Millsaps isn't missing races. That was like Matthes said, it was a firing deal. It wasn't an injury deal. It's switching brands over and over. So anyone have any insight on this BTOsports.com KTM operation? Anyone know those guys?
Oh, I might.
Okay.
I might. You know what? Davey was in a place where he was wanting to get on good equipment. That was priority number 1 from what I've gathered. He found a team with Forrest Butler and the BTO KTM team that allowed him to get on a factory bike again. Davey's in a place where he has something to prove. He obviously isn't happy with how how it ended at Kawasaki, and I think he knows he's capable of running up front. He's happy with the bike. He's happy with the team. He's known Forrest for 20 years. So I think the pieces are there. Can he stay healthy? Can he, sort out the things that have gone wrong in the past year and a half with injuries and everything else? That's the main question. I think if he can get out to a fast start, get good starts the first few rounds and build that confidence, the sky's the limit for Davey. We've seen him run up front. We saw him just a few years ago battling for the championship. So the possibilities are there. It's going to be interesting. I'm interested. I'll be right there in the middle of it watching.
Wearing the shirt.
Absolutely, to see how this unfolds.
You saw Davey when he first got on this bike, and the question always at Millsaps is, we know he has talent, but is the effort there? Is he digging deep? It looked like he was motivated from what you saw.
I was skeptical because I don't, last year was confusing to me. He came from a privateer Suzuki where he was really good.
Yeah.
And kind of makes his way eventually to this factory Kawasaki bike, and you're thinking that has to be better. And he doesn't really care for it, doesn't get along with it. Results aren't that great. It ended badly, and so now here he is, a KTM that he didn't like at one point. Yeah. Now he loves it. Is it just a smoke show? I was out riding at a local Southern California track, and he went by me so fast, it like blew my jersey off. And I flexed for everybody right away, but it was impressive. I mean, not that I'm on the pace with these guys anymore at all, but I pulled over and actually watched him, and I was like, dang, this guy is doing it. And he just looked comfortable. He looked like Davie Milsaps can look. So I was intrigued right away, and I spoke with one of his mechanics at their race team. I happened to bump into him, and he's like, yeah, he's flying. Like, he's really ready to go. And they were really excited about the start of the season. This was just a week or so ago. So he's, by all accounts that I bump into, he's really ready, and he's got some momentum coming into the season.
Got any predictions here, JT, on how this is going to go? This is probably the hardest guy to pin down of anybody.
You know what? I think he will get a top 5 at Anaheim 1. I saw some good things out of him at the Monster Cup, and I was that was, to me, was telling, because he has been off for so long, and we really haven't seen much from him, even when he was still racing last Supercross season. But he was on the pace at Monster Cup. Yes, maybe he didn't win, maybe Roxon pulled away some, but he was there. So I think if he can nail the starts, he's going to be ready, and I think that first race will tell us how this thing's going to go, because I think he feeds off of that. If he can gain that momentum and continue that confidence, that's going to be it. So I think if he struggles at A1, he's really going to have to buckle down and pull this thing together. But if he comes out swinging at A1, it's going to be telling for how the season's going to go.
What do you think? How can it go?
I put him 4th to 6th. I think he's definitely got the speed, starts, and those things are going to play a factor. But if I'm just going straight up on what I've seen, what I've heard, basing him with other guys, I put him right in that 4 or 6 spot.
Yeah, and I'm going to go there too. I just feel like as good as he is, and this bike seems capable and the team seems capable, once you go into that top 5, you're talking guys that have every single thing on point. It's not like Ryan Dungey and Ken Roxon were missing entire chunks of seasons for years and dealing with injuries and illness and bike switches. So to go and beat those guys when they're 100% in every part of their game and you're bouncing back, I think that's maybe a tall order, but there's probably going to be some ruddy, weird, difficult track somewhere, and Millsaps is going to make everybody look silly like he does every year, and then he'll tell us that we were wrong, because he's probably watching this right now. And speaking of watching, once again, every show is on live at Fox Sports this year. And also want to mention the ratings were up, I think, 6% last year. So the sport keeps growing. We appreciate the support. It'll be good. On supercrosslive.com, you can get the whole TV schedule or come actually watch a race in person. That's the best way to see it. That's our show. We'll be back for more.